Hey there. Actually, I guess I don't really need the podium because I have this fancy thing on. First of all, I just want to say thank you so much for all of you for being here and for Connecting for Change for inviting us to come. It's an incredible honor. Yeah, so my name is Lisa Purdy, and like Hal said, we are from Students for a Just and Stable Future. And through that organization, we are friends. First and foremost, we're friends. And that's actually very important for the rest of what I'm going to say. Because part of the reason that I'm standing here today is that the three of us, so Lisa, Ali, and Ben, you'll meet them in a minute, this January, we were arrested in a protest of the Keystone XL pipeline. Thank you. Yeah. So you'll hear a little bit more about that. So for those of you who don't know, or maybe you just aren't as quite as familiar, you'll hear a little bit more about it, but the Keystone XL pipeline is a pipeline that, it's an extension to an existing pipeline that would be taking toxic tar sands from indigenous communities in Canada and bringing them through the heartland of America to historically impoverished people of color, like communities of color in Texas, to be sold for export on the world market. So very, very bad, and there's been incredible actions, incredible civil disobediences, and incredible blockades against it. And so it's in the context of all of this incredible action and incredible movement around the pipeline that we and our friends got together and realized that we needed to do something. And that somehow the cards lined up, the stars aligned, and we were like, oh, we're the people we've been waiting for and waiting for and waiting and waiting for. So we planned and we schemed and we let our parents know. And then on January 7th, 2013, we walked into the office in Westboro, Mass., hence the name the Westboro 8, because Westboro, Mass. Is home to TransCanada, the corporation building the pipeline. So very close, as we learned. Yeah, so we walked in and we calmly got together and sat in a circle. And we chained our ankles so that we could not be moved, and we chained our waists together so that we could stay together. And in an act of love and solidarity with one another, we super glued our hands together. So we stayed there for a few hours, but obviously as we're standing here today, we did eventually leave, but we came back in force 2 months later with 100 friends, 25 of whom decided to stay and get arrested. So, I'll tell them you say thanks. And so now, the decision point is actually coming up, and we should be making a decision about Keystone XL very shortly, and it looks like we're going to win. So I'm going to hand it over to Ali, and I just want to let you all know that I've received word you all can stop waiting now. So, yeah.
All right. So I think the biggest question I hear when I talk about this action with people is, why did you do it? And when you step back a level, it does seem really crazy that the 8 of us during our winter breaks would just sneak into a corporation's office, chain ourselves together, super glue ourselves together, do as much as we could to try to stay there as long as possible, and really just let the corporation know that they can't build the Keystone XL pipeline. And that's a very strange action to do. It's not every day that you go and super glue yourself to someone or just invade a corporation's office. But this is a very special moment in history where we don't, this isn't only justified, our actions weren't only justified by the Keystone XL pipeline, but they were demanded by it. Because the Keystone XL pipeline and other fossil fuel infrastructure is locking our generation into climate disaster. It's that simple. The more fossil fuel infrastructure we build, the more and more we're locked into this future of insane floods and hurricanes like Hurricane Sandy, or insane, crazy wildfires raging across Arizona. They killed 19 firefighters this summer, and those guys were only a few years older than me. And those wildfires wouldn't have happened if we hadn't had unprecedented drought in Arizona. We're talking about millions of people's lives here, and over time, it's only going to get worse. If we keep building projects like Keystone, if we keep, fueling our addiction to fossil fuels, our water sources are going to dry up. our cities will flood, housing prices will shoot up, and we'll have climate refugees all over the place. And it's a terrifying future, and I think the terror of, the vision for what the world could be like if we let climate change continue rolling as it is, that terror led us to our actions. But I think we wouldn't have taken this action if we hadn't had hope as well, because that climate change-ridden future, it's not set in stone yet. We still have time left, and right now, we all have a role in making the choice as to where our society goes over the next few decades, over the lifetimes of people who are 20 years old like me, who are younger, who are a bit older too. Either our society can collectively choose to keep building fossil fuel infrastructure, keep building projects like Keystone XL that tap into extreme energy like the tar sands or natural gas fracking, or we can do something else that I think a lot of you guys have been talking about at this conference here, solutionaries. We can, while resisting the fossil fuel industry, we can be living and building and creating the alternatives to it. We don't need to be dependent on oil. We can build public transit out in the state in a way that's equitable and meets everyone's needs. We can expand wind and solar so people's own homes are producing electricity and you're not reliant on some big energy corporation that's owning your government like we are right now with the fossil fuel industry. Yeah, we can do it. And, Keystone XL is the line in the sand that we must draw right now. It's a turning point for my generation and for our entire planet, because if we build Keystone XL, if we keep building fossil fuel infrastructure, it'll lead to climate disaster, and that means disaster for everyone. The future we're hoping to build of social justice, any future at all, climate disaster will destroy it. But we also have the choice to be building the alternatives. And we have to, step up and resist the industry, draw that line in the sand that blocks Keystone XL, but also be taking the steps we need to build out public transit or the other solutions we have to provide ourselves with an alternative way to live. And I'll let Ben go now.
So today, Obama's decision on Keystone will be a defining decision for his presidency. But in 2011, nobody knew what the Keystone Pipeline was. And those who did know what the Keystone Pipeline was knew that it was going to be built. So they thought. But Dr. James Hansen didn't just know the so-called political reality, he knew the scientific reality. And he told us that if we take full advantage of the tar sands, it would be game over for the climate. His words in 2011 put me on a bus to DC. And when I got off that bus, I found 1,000 other people, over 1,000 other people. And over 2 weeks, we were arrested in front of the White House in protest of that pipeline. Now, since then, the movement has grown quite a bit. And we've come quite a far way where today, it seems more likely than not that the pipeline will not be approved. And when it is not approved, we will be ready to move forward. We're going to divest our universities and our municipalities and our churches from the fossil fuel industry. We're going to keep all of New England. We're going to keep all tar sands out of New England. And we're going to help Governor Patrick cement his legacy as a climate champion by working with him to make sure that from here on out, any new energy demand in the state is met through renewables, conservation, or efficiency. And we have a long way to go, and we hope that you'll be there with us. You can be there with us by going to justinstable.org